Good Thursday afternoon, everyone. And I want to take a few minutes today. I've already kind of launched a Facebook page, and I've sent out the YouTube, kind of set up the YouTube channel and all of that for a vision that I'm calling ChurchBnB. So before we went any further, I wanted to take a few minutes today to break down and talk to you guys about what the vision of ChurchBnB is. Church B&B is exactly what it sounds like. Most of us think of Airbnb as a place to, when we want to go on vacation, we rent out a place of someone else's, an Airbnb. We stay in their home, we take care of it, and they clean it up and all those good things. But I got to thinking about the idea of doing church in a similar fashion, because as we look at the way church was done by the apostles, it doesn't look anything like it does today. So I'm going to take a few moments today, and we're going to begin by looking at Acts chapter 2, and I'm going to start with verse 42, and I'm going to read about 5 verses there, and then we're going to go on, and I want to explain to you guys where the vision of Church B&B came from God's Word. So we're in Acts chapter 2, and I'm going to begin with verse 42. And they devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching and the fellowship, to the breaking of bread and the prayers. And all came upon every soul, and many wonders and signs were being done throughout the apostles. And all who believed were together and had all things in common. And they were selling their possessions and belongings and distributing the proceeds to all, as any had need. And day by day attending the temple together and breaking bread in their homes, they received their food with glad and generous hearts, praising God and having favor with all people. And the Lord added to their number day by day those who were being saved. And as I read that, I often think about, and we've probably heard this analogy before, about a man who gets abandoned on a desert island, and a Bible washes up on shore, and he takes this Bible and he reads it. He reads all of the New Testament, reads all of the Old Testament, and he really comes to a knowing faith, a true faith in Jesus. But then he's rescued. Rescuers come out and pick him up and bring him back to good old US of A, where all the comforts in life are. And when they get him back home, he gets situated, and the first Sunday he wants to go to church, so he goes to a church he's been told is completely wrapped around this book, that is all about reading this book and studying this book. And when he walks in there on Sunday morning, is he going to be disappointed, or is he going to see what he read about in this book? Or is he going to see something different? And that's where the idea of Church B&B comes from, because the idea of people coming to church on Sunday morning as an entertainment point. They come in, they get their 3 or 4 songs, they get a 30-minute sermon, and then they get one more song and a prayer, and they're sent home for the week. Most churches even have a midweek service where they get together and have another prayer service or another reading of the Word and a couple more songs. But a majority of the church sits there and does nothing. They don't contribute. They're not a part of it. They're just sitting on the pews and taking up space. And that's what Church B&B wants to combat. Our goal is to equip the remnant of believers, equipping the faithful to transform the world. And I had to make up a mission statement. So my mission statement kind of came down to this: we are committed to the equipping of the remnant of believers to fulfill the Great Commission by nurturing their faith, empowering their witness, and mobilizing them to make disciples who will transform the world through Christ's love. Now, I want to get this out of the way. This is not a social cult. This is not one of those ideas where, we're all getting together to throw all our money into one pot and become a socialist thing where whenever we have need, we come get money from the pot. No. Finances I'll go into in just a moment. But each one goes into his own home church to work. Men show up on Sunday morning ready to take up offering. Women show up Sunday morning ready to teach the children, ready to take the nursery, ready to take up offering, ready to serve wherever they can. But they go there on Sunday morning because they've been equipped on Saturday in the ChurchBnB to give them the tools they need to serve in their church. And we come to ChurchBnB to be equipped. We come to learn to do these things. Equipped to lead, equipped to deacon, equipped to be an elder, equipped to be a pastor, equipped to teach, equipped to serve, and equipped to evangelize and even make disciples. We are called to be the church. You are called to be the church. I am called to be the church. Now the idea of this was never to be a Sunday morning thing. It was never to be something to take the place of what we already have, but to be a supplement to the churches that are already in place. And the idea is to do these services on Thursday, on a Friday night, a Saturday night, maybe even a Sunday night, to prepare us to serve in our home churches, to prepare us to serve when we go to work on Monday, to prepare us to live a life of following Christ. And in doing so, being a complete ministry, being a ministry that is sent, being a ministry that sends others, being a ministry that has establishes its own financial, its own supporting system. And what do we mean by sent? That means we've departed our homes to go and make disciples. And the whole point of what we're doing here is to be a church of servants, a church of slaves, a church of doulos. And that's a Greek word you'd have to look up. But doulos means bondservant. And it's not simply, we're done taking the title Christian. We're done just saying, yes, I'm a Christian, but only by title, because we don't actually serve the King that we proclaim to serve. And with that being said, ChurchBnB is never meant to be a stagnant church, one who just meets and talks, but one who gets together, we train, and then we go out and we put it into work. And being a sending church, right now we don't even have a liturgy in place. We started with one, and it proved to be just a little bit almost too mechanical. So in doing so, we've changed it up just a little bit, and now ChurchBnB is on the move. We're going to meet this Saturday in a park, next Saturday in another home, and the next Saturday in another park. We're always going to be on the move and be in a place to where we can always accompany those that come to us. But as we go out to be not an attraction, but to be the one who goes out and preaches in the parks and in the open areas for all to hear. Now we plan to do things like a 5th week of evangelism, having goals for evangelism, having training for evangelism, having goals for discipleship. It's not just as simple as you show up each week and, hey Tom, how are you? Sing a song, go home. No. How are you doing? Did you have that tough, difficult conversation with your son this week? Did you have that difficult conversation with your coworker? We ask those questions because we want to see that we're putting the Lord's words into action. Now, finances, most people that know me know that I really don't want to have anything to do with finances in church, because I see the business of church as winning lost souls, as going out and taking care of the widows and the orphan, and going out and preaching the gospel to those that don't know it. That's the business of the church. So as part of that, we have a box that we set out that says donations, and give cheerfully. Whatever the Lord puts on your heart, pledge and give cheerfully. If the Lord's called you to give your 100%, all of your tithes to your church, do that. Do that. That's what our word tells us to do. But if you want to support this ministry financially, if you feel like the Lord's calling you and tugging at your heart to do that, then pledge cheerfully and give cheerfully. Because right now, we have no intentions of having any. There's no salaries. There's no tax responsibility. The only collection would be to cover food costs, to cover purchasing tracts, or to potentially, if we've outgrown one home or we've outgrown one place to go, then it helps us to be able to cover the cost to grow. But other than that, that's the end of the finances. If you want to give, give. If you don't, man, show up and enjoy the word being fed by God's word. God will take care of the ministry. I don't want to get caught up in finances because that's really the smallest part of this. But then there's the supporting element to the least of these. So each week that we do this, we want to have a meal. We want to have a time in studying the Word. We want to have time in talking about the Word. We want to spend time doing something that teaches us how practically to share our faith. And with that means there's going to be times to set up for these meetings, to set up for the chairs, or to set up a blankets if we're at a park that week. Or just to maybe prepare the picnics to bring the food. Or if we're going to be reserving a place and we're going to have music and things like that. What kind of audio and video requirements do we have? And that's the goal of being a fully supporting ministry. The bottom line is this: we have all been called to do more than just sit in a pew and keep it warm. We've all been called to do something outside of the church. We can come in here, go in there on Sunday morning, listen to the pastor preach, but we've all been called to do something. It is the church. We are the church. You and I are the church. And while there's been some temptation along the way with this to move it to Sunday morning, I don't feel like that's where the Lord's calling me. While I'm serving in several churches in different capacities to just serve the Lord, that's it. This vision is to truly supplement the faith of all of those that we influence. And to do this on a Friday night, a Saturday night, a Sunday night. Like right now we do Saturdays 4 to 7. But what if that gets too many people? Then we'll do one on a Friday too. It is also important to me to be accountable to a church body. So let it be known that I do it and currently attending a church on Sunday morning called Cedar Fork Baptist Church. I attend that church on Sunday morning, and I'm serving in whatever capacity that I can, while doing this, fulfilling this vision that the Lord's given me. I serve there. I come here to feed and to feed others. So with that, it's important to me to be accountable to a church body like that Cedar Fork or the Eastern Baptist Association. Not to be the know-all, end-all, because I'm not. I can be wrong. I don't know everything, and having someone that holds me accountable to that is very important to me. So the goal is that we will provide this ministry will provide a primary teaching each week. But if you want to get the real value of it, attending one of our meetings, getting to know our people, and really digging deep into the Word with us. The whole idea of this is to supplement your faith. In 2 Peter chapter 1, verses 3 through 5, he talks about supplementing our faith. New King James says add to, but in the English Standard Version it says supplement your faith, and he goes on to name them, the different parts of ways to supplement your faith. And that's what we want to do here in ChurchBnB. Right now we partner with Midnight Ministries, we partner with Bonfire Church, because we're trying to go down so many different avenues to reach every aspect of the lost that we can. So I'm not trying to steal anybody away from Midnight Ministries and Bonfire Church. Absolutely not. Pastor Will and I are absolutely still 100% partnered in that. But He and I discussed it this week, and this is one of those things that I feel the Lord is calling me to take full responsibility for. So with that, we're starting with online. This Saturday, 4 p.m., we'll be at Onslow Pines Park doing some time there, doing a service there. And then next Saturday, we'll be out there as well at the Kiwanis little overhang there to do hamburgers and hot dogs for free. And then we'll do a little teaching and then some discipleship and things like that. But the main thing with this, I've kind of skipped over the discipleship portion, but that's really where the rubber meets the road. We're teaching the Gospel of Mark in our teachings, but after our teachings are done, after we are done with the teaching, we stop everything and we sit down and we make sure everyone understood the teaching first. And then once I understand that they understood the teaching and they know what the teaching was about, we go into a discipleship time. And right now, we're doing the commands of Christ, where we learn about the different commands of Christ and how to teach those commands to others. Because Matthew 28:19 and 20 says, and teach them to observe the things that I have commanded you. And then when we finish that, we'll go into a little bit of the way of the master in learning evangelism that way. Because we want to leave here every week with evangelism tool to use. And then next week, challenge each other to tell us those stories about how you use that story to share your faith with someone else. So thank you. If you've been invited to join us here at ChurchBnB, I ask you to not only follow and like, but also to share it with others. Get as many people to follow this as we can. Because the main thing is that we are getting the word out there. Now, most of our services, let me throw this out there before I end. Most of our services will not be recorded. I'll record a message in like this room or in a different room. I'll record the message on Saturdays or Fridays. And then I'll go out and teach the message on Saturdays. But I'll record it specifically for this because ChurchBnB is meant to be an intimate setting, a setting of disciples getting around and learning how to follow Christ more closely. So join us for one of our meetings. Follow us here on Facebook. Follow us on YouTube. Subscribe to us on YouTube. All those good things. And then share. Get our ministry out there so that we can do more to share with others. And welcome to ChurchBnB. And I really hope that we can be a blessing to you and supplement your faith. Thank you guys. You guys have a great week.